This is The Speaking Show. I'm David Newman, and you're tuned in to the #1 podcast for speakers, consultants, and experts who want to speak more profitably. Mark Hunter, CSP, by the way, star of episode #1 of The Speaking Show. Welcome back.
Boom. It is. Hey, we're already on to reruns. No, this isn't, we're talking fresh stuff.
We're talking fresh here, baby. Fresh. So I know that you've got some fabulous books out there, and people might remember back from episode 1, high profit selling, high profit prospecting. But today we're playing some inside baseball. Today we're not going to Mark Hunter, sales guru, sales expert. Today, we're going to Mark Hunter, public programs guru, and collaboration with your smart speaker friends expertise. So let's talk about, first of all, public programs, zoom out, big picture, planetary level, easy, hard, recommended on day one. What would you tell someone who's considering, should I do my own events? Should I do my own public programs?
It is hard as can be because you're asking to put butts in seats, because what we're talking about is not just streaming, but actually getting people physically to travel to a location. And that's hard. But I'll tell you what, you talk about raising your brand awareness to the next level. This is what you do, because you look at the public program, not just as an event to share your expertise and hopefully make some money, but you build your brand in the marketing. That's why I highly recommend it.
So tell us how you got into public programs, what your big public, because basically what we're talking about is you're now producing your own conference. Tell us how you got into that. Tell us where the idea came from. How did this whole thing come about?
Yeah, the idea came about from my mastermind group. Yes. Hey, if you're listening to this and you're not in a mastermind group, you've got to create a mastermind group. This is a mastermind group I've been part of for 6 or 7 years. And began as like 6 or 7. It kind of worked its way down to 4. And we're all in the sales training, sales speaking space. So, we're all in the same industry. But what happened was we began talking. We said, let's do a webinar. So we just did a webinar. That was cool. And then one of the guys said, hey, I think I can get a sponsor for it. So before we knew it, we had somebody throwing us some coins.
On the webinar, Mark, it's all 4 of you together.
Right. All 4 of us together. And we said, okay, we're going to do this totally different. We're going to do this totally video. No PowerPoint, no nothing, just 4 talking heads. So we did it. And then we did another one, and a guy said, hey, I think I can get a sponsor. So we got a sponsor. So anyway, we wound up doing 2 or 3 of these. And then I said, hey, I spoke at this deal, and I talked to this guy who puts on this thing, and I think let's do a live conference for a day. So we came together, and the first one, we had about 150 people. We weren't any part of it. In other words, this company was putting it on, and they just paid for our travel. But it was basically to see if it would work. It worked. So we said, wait a minute, we can do it ourselves. So 2.5 years ago, we held the first one in Atlanta. We had 375 people come from all over the country. That was cool. I was like, wow, that's random. Then last year, we had 600 people come to Atlanta. This next year, we're going to have 1,200 people come to Atlanta from all over the world. Last year, we had people from Australia, Asia. It's incredible, but it's hustling hard to put people in seats. But what it does is it gives you a completely different platform from which to project your business. And I think that's kind of the cool thing. And it was just the 4 of us, but it's the partnership. I think that's one of the big things. You have to be willing to let go, team yourself up with good, because you become known who you associate with. So guess what? You got to hang out with great people, but you hang out with great people who think big. Think big. These other guys who I'm with, man, it's absolutely scary, the bigness of the ideas.
Well, let's drop some names. Who's in the all-star lineup?
Okay. The other 3 people who were in the mastermind group, Jeb Blunt, Fanatical Prospecting, Anthony Iannarino, the only sales guide you'll ever need, Mike Weinberg, new Sales Simplified. So we're the mastermind group. But this next year, what we did was we said, hey, if we're going to get 1,200 people, let's bring in some other people. We got Jeffrey Gitomer coming, Bob Berg coming, Waldo Waldman coming, Victor Antonio coming, Colleen Francis coming, and Andrea Waltz. Some of them Hall of Fame speakers, some of them NSA members, some not NSA members. That's just on the main stage. I'll come back. I'll hopefully talk about that some more. But then we're also doing a day of breakouts where we're having other people come in to do breakouts. So in other words, what we're doing is we're putting together a complete, really, if you buy the whole package, a 3.5-day conference. Wow. in Atlanta. We're at the Georgia World Congress Center. And we're out there hustling tickets every day. But what does it do? It increases the size of our brand big time.
And just so people know, this conference is called Outbound.
Outbound, yes. And the website, go to outboundconference.com. And
now there's an inbound conference,
right?
Our friends at HubSpot put together this inbound conference. Did you intentionally sort of play off like, okay, inbound is great, but you know what? We're a bunch of sales guys and we like outbound selling and prospecting and shaking hands and kissing babies and making deals. So did you kind of play off that as kind of a yin and yang thing, or was there some positive brand association, inbound versus outbound?
Yes, we love Outbound. I didn't want to scream too loudly because we'd blow the recording system here. Yeah, it is. It is all about outbound. So, we're attracting sales individuals, sales leaders, and so forth that are out there on the front. We call it prospecting, pipeline, and productivity. So it's Outbound Conference, prospecting, pipeline, productivity. And what we do is not like a normal conference. Again, you got to think outside the box. Think Cirque du Soleil takes over a rock show to disrupt a sales meeting. This is high energy all the way through. But what do? People are on social media yelling about this thing, screaming about this during the event itself. So, we had 30% of the people who came year one came back to year two. That's incredible. And we'll probably have the same number come back again for year three. But it's all partnership. It's everybody contributing, everybody.
So I'm channeling our listeners, and I'm also dying of curiosity myself, because when I think of putting together what you guys have put together, you must have made about 100 different key decisions. Things like format, length, location, pricing, budget. Do we do it at the big convention center? Do we do it at the Marriott? Do we rent like a WeWork facility? How did you unpack all of those different marketing and logistics decisions?
Yeah, there were two main decisions we had to make up front. And really, it's part of how the four of us think. One, we're playing the long game. We're playing a 10-year game on this, okay? Two, we're not worried about making money. We don't want to lose money, but we're not worried about making money. Because here's the whole thing. Just like you and I take kind of towards books. We publish books not to make money from the sale of the book, but we publish books to make money because of the book. And see, that's what this event does. We will have speakers bureaus who have representatives coming to this meeting. Why? Because they want to come and hear us. We book engagements because of the event. So that's where we're looking to really create this thing. The other decision we had to make was there's no selling from the platform. This is not a pitch fest. No pitch fest. We get sponsors. They do not get the microphone. So it runs totally counter to a lot of the current models out there. And I totally get it, not knocking them. So as a result, our ticket prices are a lot higher because the gate has to cover a lot more.
Let's talk about the pricing. How much is the ticket? Is there an early bird thing? Can we get in on this early and save some bucks? What's going on?
Early bird is sold out. That sold out several months ago. Yeah, I think ticket prices are running right now about $400 to $1,500 a piece.
And that depends on how much and how much access you get.
Right, depending on what you want access to. But what we found is this. If you're going to be coming from Australia, if you're going to be coming from the West Coast, because it's in Atlanta, you're already paying for a hotel. Don't be shy of the price. Our 2-day price, this is funny, I don't even know. I think it's like $5.99. See, $5.99 for 2 days. Now that's not expensive.
It's cheap.
That's really cheap. But there's a lot of sales conferences out there people can go to for $100, $150. See, so we're not playing to that audience.
Right.
You want the VIP package, it's like $1,400. And you get more for that. You get all kinds of stuff. And we've ratcheted over the last couple of years. Every year we've taken a major price increase. We just keep boom, 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 boom. But we're playing the long game and we're reinvesting. When I mean reinvesting, we will spend several $100,000 just on staging. Just on staging. That's insane. But when you see the number of lights and lasers and everything else, music, sound system, Waldo is going to be so blown away. This is going to be cool. Waldo Waldman, who we all know and love. He is kicking it off after lunch on the first day. And he has this intro video. And trust me, when you hear that intro video and sound on this sound system, it will blow you away.
Jet fighters, there's missiles.
Yeah. You will be ducking for cover.
Yeah. Let's talk about kind of the growth of this.
Yeah.
It started out, I'm guessing, kind of bare bones, 1-day event. Let's see what happens. And then over the years, You said, let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's make it a little bit fancier. Let's go to 2 days. Year after that, let's try 3.5 days. And you were doing it step by step. Like you weren't doing a big blowout 3.5 day event with lasers and missiles on day one.
Yeah. It's step your way into it, but don't hesitate to push. We in the speaking community, the consulting community, training are so afraid of pushing the envelope. You got to be willing to push. And what we pushed and we pushed and we pushed and we pushed. How much can we afford? How much can we do? And again, we're playing the long game. We're playing the long game. Yeah, all the money goes back into the event. But now think about this also, what we're getting. We're getting a tremendous amount of video footage. We're getting a tremendous amount of photo. We're getting all of this content that all of us can use in our various marketing materials and so forth. There's a phrase that I use just to sidestep a little bit. One of the challenges within the industry that this podcast is awesome.
Thank you.
Is that if you're a $100,000 speaker, you have to be thinking and acting like a $300,000 speaker. If you're a $300,000 speaker, you got to be thinking and acting like $1 million speaker. If you're $1 million in revenue, you got to be thinking and acting like 3 million. You have to be thinking and acting to the next level. That's what's been driving all of our decisions on this. And it's what has us saying, oh yeah, we can do that. How are we going to do that? I don't know. We're going to figure it out. Don't try to figure everything out, but just go. And it eventually comes together.
So huge. I want to back up the truck. I really want people to take 2 things away from what you just said. Number 1 is the level yourself up strategy, right? If you're at 100K, act like and invest like you're at 300. You're at 300, you want to get to $1 million, act like the $1 million revenue speaker. You're at 1 million, you want to get to 3, act like you've got $3 million of company revenue right now, because that's how you ratchet things up. The other thing that's really, really huge is don't worry about the how. I had a mentor early on, and I was always Mr. How do I do this? And Michael, how does this work? This is my mentor, Michael Ray from Stanford Business School. And I was, how does this work? And how am I going to do that? And how am I going to start? And he stopped me one day and he said, David, how is the least interesting question. It's always the least interesting question. It's what are you trying to accomplish? What's the outcome? And why is that goal your goal? The what and the why, nail that. The how will take care of itself.
Amen, David. Yes.
And it's so, so huge. Hey, good looking. Are you currently getting paid to speak? Would you like to ramp that up? We can help. Book a confidential speaker strategy call with our team at doitmarketing.com/call, and let's see what we might do together. The call is free, but the results may be priceless. Let me also just check in with you, Mark, about the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is about competition. So here's you, here's Mike, here's Anthony, here's Jeb. Even though you're in a mastermind group, you could be playing your cards close to the vest. You could be, every gig that Jeb gets is a gig I'm not getting. And hey, I just lost a gig to Anthony last month. And there may be some things I want to kind of play close to the vest and not fully tell my mastermind buddies, let alone do a conference with them and tap into their expertise and their list and their money. How do you go from competition to this true level of deep, meaningful, trust-filled collaboration?
Well, first of all, you cannot come from a mindset of scarcity. The 4 of us approach this with abundance. We're bringing in Bob Berg, Jeffrey Gitomer, Waldo, Victor Antonio. You can argue again. Why you do? No, because we play from abundance. We know we have a message that impacts people, just as you. You know that you impact people, and you know that there'll always be a market for you. And there is no limit to what you can do if you believe enough in the outcomes that you create in the people you reach. That's what drives us. That's what drives this whole thing. Where this goes 5 or 10 years, this is going to keep growing. We are only in the first inning of this ballgame, period.
Yeah. And I also love what you said about this. Consider this like a book. That, you and I make $1.25, or you make $1.50 because you cut a better deal.
Right.
I make $1.25 on each of my books, and we're not making money from the book. We're not making money because of the book. You're not making money from the conference, or at least not yet, but I'm sure you will. but you're making money today because of the conference. Talk about butts and seats, because I'm imagining a lot of our listeners are saying, oh, so Mike blasts out his email list, Mark blasts out his email list. Is this just email, or what other mechanisms and modes are you using to put butts in seats?
Well, the biggest mode up to now has been email lists, is our respective audiences. And the four of us, we put our audiences together and we email. But we also do a tremendous amount on social media in terms of we're putting out stuff on LinkedIn and Facebook, and we'll do some pay-per-click. We'll do some things there. But by and large, a lot of it is people who know us. They had us come into their company and, oh yeah, I'm going to come. Now, as we grow this thing, in other words, this is another reason we're bringing in additional people. And of course, we have a list of people who are going to be speaking on the breakout session day, the last day that, it's incredible. All these people have got audiences. So you begin promoting it to everybody's audience, and it becomes the sales conference of the year. Butts and seats is not easy. Man, but it's email lists. Does cold calling work? Does that type of stuff work? Yeah, sometimes it does. Again, I guess that's what I talk about. So I guess it should work. But by and large, it's people who know us. So that means we have to be actively promoting 365 days a year.
Now, that's why. Are you also selling onesies, or are you selling corporate, like buy a block of 10, bring your whole team? What's the kind of bulk pricing incentive for like a VP of sales?
Yeah, in other words, we do have companies that are bringing their entire team. They're bringing 8 or 10 people, where they're bringing 20 people, they're bringing 30 people.
Those are the types incentive pricing for that?
Yeah, we're giving them some discounts on that. And of course, those are the tickets. This event is not till April. So 6 months out, what we're doing now is selling the group seats, because companies need to plan for it and so forth. And then as we get closer, then it's more individuals, et cetera, et cetera.
And so now that you're in year 3, I'm guessing that you've got some great assets. You've got some video, you've got some snippets, you've got some testimonials, you've got all kinds of social proof that this is the can't miss sales event of 2019, 2020, 2021 going forward, right?
Right. That's the whole thing. So you build up all these assets. Because remember, how many times have you spoken at an event and you really want to make sure that they get the right video for you? Well, guess what? This is our event. We can tell the videographers where to be. We can tell these people where to be. So yeah, is it self-serving? Yeah, but when you're doing your own event, and this is the whole thing, we have so many lights and smoke and everything else involved that people don't even notice the videographers. In fact, they feel that's part of the whole, when we got camera people rushing the aisle, running down the aisle, people think that's just part of the adrenaline, part of the energy. No, they're actually capturing video footage for us. Yeah, so we're throwing a party and we're inviting a lot of people to it. And guess what? You're all actors in our play.
Each playing their role exactly as designed.
Yeah. Yes. But here's the whole thing though. It's content. It's solid content. We give them a workbook. People come in and they have a workbook and they work their way through the workbook, and we're totally accessible. Last year, we were at the Omni Hotel at the CNN Center. And that was with 600 people. That's why this year we're moving to the Georgia World Congress Center. That's the convention center for those of you who are not familiar with Atlanta. And we had a little backup in the registration line. Well, guess what? I start working the registration line. I'm greeting people. I'm welcome. Hey, welcome to our wedding. Are you bride of the groom? We're joking with people. We're having fun. And people were saying, this is so cool. You guys are out here with us. And we kind of joke, the no green room meeting. There's no green room. We're out there with everybody. And but it creates a tribe. We're creating a community. And is it exhausting? Oh, totally exhausting. You see that duck on the water that looks so placid, and down below the feet are like going, yeah, that was us, man. We're exhausted, but it's fun.
So each of you are basically, in addition to your other entrepreneurial ventures, which you may be involved in multiple things, this is almost like yet another company or yet another business that you're in. You're now in the conference business.
Right. We have formed a company. And again, this comes back to the mastermind group. People sit there and say, well, why do I want to be in a mastermind group? You can't afford not to be in a mastermind group. You can't afford, because this came out of a mastermind group. And all four of us, we all have lifted each other up. We've all lifted each other. My game is better because of the other three. And the other three would say they're better. Again, it's huge.
Yeah.
There's no competition.
No, well, not with the spirit of abundance that you just shared.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to go back to two things that you said. One is about the video asset, and that really the entire conference is an asset of some kind. But even just breaking it down to the video, each of you four are very, very successful, and you might easily spend 10 or 15 or 20K on just your own next video. So let's say that you pool that $60,000 to $80,000 that you would each put 15 to 20 into your own video. There's $80,000 of conference budget.
Well, see, that's all.
You're getting awesome video assets out of it. So you would have spent that money on world-class video anyway. The conference gives you world-class video, plus relationships, plus a platform, plus a reason to reach out to prospects, plus a reason to do corporate bulk sales. So it's almost a no-brainer when you put it relative to other expenditures that you would spend ordinarily just to get awesome video.
It does. And that's why we hire multiple video companies for the event. We had the production company with their video equipment that's projecting and doing all that stuff. We had another separate company that is just doing still photos. We have another company that was just doing video testimonials out in the lobby. And we had another video company that supplied a videographer to follow each one of us around. In other words, I had a cameraman on me for 2 days, literally following me everywhere, except to the restroom.
What that says to me is that you're celebritizing the event and you're celebritizing the four of you guys as the kingpins of this operation.
Yeah. And again, this is what I mean. We're getting all this footage. And I'll tell you what, it is an arduous task. We've only just begun to sort through all the content. But you think about this. What are you creating? You're creating so many message points all along the way that we can begin to pull out. I'm just now beginning to pull out little 20 and 30-second clips out of my keynotes that I did, that I'm putting into LinkedIn posts, that I'm putting into my blog posts that I'm using. In other words, we're taking all of this footage and you start slicing and dicing it so many different ways. You know, I'm going to attribute it. I've already dropped his name once, but Waldo, excellent guy. I love him dearly. He made the comment. He says, one of the biggest problems NSA people have is they want the big checks, but they're afraid to write the big checks.
Amen.
You know, you think about that. And I know you've said that. I know a number of other people have said that. But you stop and think about this. We weren't hesitant to write the big check. You know, we believe so confidently in us that we're going to come out of this okay.
Right.
But you have to be willing to take, because think about it. Our business, our cost of goods is like zero. We operate on like a 98% profit margin. I mean, right? I mean, it's disgusting. You have to invest.
You have to invest.
Absolutely
right. I also want to just channel a little bit of my own experience here. I produced the conference back 5 or 6 years ago called America Talks Business. My only mistake is that I did one of them. And if you think back to the first Outbound conference, what is the entire reason for being? What's the entire purpose of doing the first event? To ease the way for the second event. Right. What's the entire purpose of your second go round? Is to create the platform and the marketing and the sponsorships for the third event. So I love when you said we're playing the long game. We're not here to dip our toe in and let's see how the first event goes. The first event might be even a loss financially. If you're getting great feedback, remember, folks, the entire purpose of your first public program is to earn the right to do your second public program or conference or mega event. So a lot of people, Mark, give up after the first event saying all the things that you said. Man, we didn't make money. Man, it was a lot of work. Man, it was like starting a third business. How do you address that? How can you encourage people beyond my little one-man experience here that the first event is not the end game?
Well, you have to think long-term. In fact, we did a total pivot. We were initially thinking that we would do 3 or 4 of these a year in various cities around the country and around the world. I mean, we laid this whole deal out. After we did the first one, we said, hold it, wait a minute. Let's just do one really good one. In fact, we attempted to do a second one that first year in Dallas, and we couldn't find a hotel. And I'm glad we couldn't, because it forced us to concentrate on just one. So to do one good one. But we literally leverage one good event every year. So people are constantly talking about it, because our whole thing is, how do you break through? We don't want to be just an event. We want to be the event. But here's the whole piece of looking down the road. Again, the four of us, big thinkers. We're saying, okay, we're not making any money on this now. Totally get it. We're break even. But could we get to come year 10? Could this be an asset that is doing X? Hopefully we will. But we got to get to, but we continue to reinvest.
Yeah, that's huge. Quick financial question, because I know people are curious. You mentioned about bureaus come, some big name clients come. Is this also a prospecting opportunity? And do you give those prospects basically free tickets?
No. Prospects pay their way to come.
So even a bureau needs to pay?
No. We are inviting some bureaus. We will give them a free ticket and so forth. They'll pay their transportation.
Sure, of course.
We're going to treat them nice. But no, so bureaus are the only ones getting in for free. But here's what we found. If clients love you, and they brought you into Keynote and they brought you in, I mean, I got any number of clients that have said, oh yeah, we're going to send 10 people. We're going to send 5 people. I had a company this last year and they only sent a couple people and they went to it and they were just blown away by it. And they said, oh, we're going to bring 20 people this next year to it. Well, what does that do? When you got them coming to this Outbound thing and you're doing work for them and maybe they're subscribing to your other programs, they're hooked in on your online programs and so forth, you have this ecosystem that, in other words, now you're getting all these other revenue pieces off of this.
Yeah.
So there's so many positive things.
And not to mention the social proof where you walk in and you're like, okay, well, gosh, Jeb and Anthony and Mark and Mike, look at their fan base. Look at these hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who, like me, came to be with these guys, learn from these guys, apply what they're teaching. The social proof aspect is gigantic in and of itself.
Yeah, and I have to say that's #humbling. It really is. It's a little bit creepy. But you know what, though? It says we're making a difference and it says we're making an impact. And that's why we keep doing it. And the number of people who reach out to us every year, and I apologize. I know people are going to call me, hey, can I get on the schedule? Sorry, we're solid for 19.
Yeah.
And we don't know what 2020 will look like, but we will do something bigger in 2020.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, there's this guy out there by the name of Tony Robbins.
I've heard of him.
Yeah. He does these big events.
He does. I love that you're thinking big.
We're taking notes.
You are thinking on a global scale, which is totally fantastic.
We have to think big in this industry. If you don't think big, the only good apple is a green apple because it still has room for improvement. You don't want to be the red apple out there.
What a great episode. Wowza. Tell you what, if you want to ramp up your revenue as an expert who speaks professionally, you should really check out our free online training at doitmarketing.com/webinar. In addition to the core 4, these guest speakers. So it's a huge showcase and it's a built-in audience of perfect prospects for that.
And I'll tell you what, some of these people have given up big events in other locations to be able to make but again, we're all friends. See, this comes back to this whole thing. Every one of these people we're good friends with. Every one of them we're good friends with. And again, this comes back to you create relationships.
Yeah.
Somewhere down the road, I mean, I want everybody walking out of this thing who's on the main stage with at least 2 or 3 very big gigs. I will win when those other people all win. Go back. I was with Tom Ziegler on Friday in Vegas, and you can't help but channel Zig, when you're with Tom. And, what's the best way to succeed is to help other people succeed. That's the approach. I mean, I want Jeffrey Gitomer walking out of that thing selling 10,000 books, getting half a dozen gigs, and just having a time of his life. And that's why we freely admit we spend every penny we can to put on a big event. This is not about making money. This is about helping people.
Is Gitomer coming into like the big platform shoes and the black and white face paint like Kiss? Is he doing the Gene Simmons thing, like with the tongue and the whole thing, or no?
I cannot reveal any of that at this point.
That'll be a surprise bonus for people when they go to Outbound 2019.
You'll just need to be there. You'll just need to be there. But think about that, though. See, this whole thing, we keep a lot of elements of surprise.
Yes.
We keep a lot of elements of surprise. And again, this is not a talk fest.
Did you hire a professional meeting planner to help you with logistics?
No, we're really bootstrapping this ourselves. No, we've got a production company that's doing it. But believe me, the 4 of us, I mean, we're on the phone all the time together. We text. But again, the 4 of us are good friends. I mean, literally good friends, very good friends. And we text each other daily. We're constantly working. There will be an equity payout 10 years down the road for this.
Sure.
But at this point, just get us whole and get us to the next one.
Yeah, totally love that. Totally love that. I know that you and I have a mutual publisher in HarperCollins and HarperCollins Leadership. Tell us about the new book that is brewing, even though it may be months and months away, but tease our appetites a little bit.
Yeah. Well, this whole thing, the most difficult sale you'll ever make is to yourself, this whole thing. So we used the same publisher, great people there. And my book will be coming out. We're still debating the debate, but the title, Mondays are for selling. How's that sound? Mondays are for selling. And it's a sales mindset book, because I'll tell you what, it's a sad comment, the number of salespeople who are not successful. And they're not successful because they simply have not figured it out in here, in the brain. That's where the most difficult sale is. And when you believe, this is what drives Outbound. I'm going to share a quick story. We knew we had something when we had 2 people come up to us. The first time we did Outbound was over. They were crying. They said, "You changed my life today," in terms of giving me the tools and helping me believe. And we followed up on them. Both have been incredibly successful in sales. See, when you believe in the outcome, it's amazing what can happen.
I totally believe and practice and preach everything that you're talking about with mindset. It can be easy for someone to say, hey, just work on your mindset. Work on your mindset and you'll sell a lot better and you'll be much more successful as a sales professional, as an entrepreneur, as a speaker, as a consultant. What are some easy practices that we can do maybe on a daily basis? You hear about affirmations. You hear about keeping a gratitude journal. You hear about writing down your clients' success stories and really absorbing all of those thank you notes and those emails and those LinkedIn recommendations that we get. Mark, what are some things you can just kind of send us off with 1 or 2 mindset practices?
The biggest thing you can do is you take a piece of paper and you write down all of the outcomes that you've helped your clients achieve, whether it's from the main stage, whether it be from consulting, whether it be from training, and you keep that list handy. Now, the outcome is, we did this training for 25 people. Who cares? But if those 25 people went out and did X, or maybe you're an HR trainer and you help them reduce turnover, which helped them save X amount of money or X amount, you write down the outcomes and you keep that list there handy. And you know what? You look at that and you go, man, I do make a difference. And after you write that list, you just give yourself a big hug. You go, I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. You have to be focused on the outcomes. Here's the whole thing. I am so intent that there's 3 I's we have to focus on. 1, you have to create a foundation of integrity. And if you can't deliver professional services with a level of integrity, you're not in professional services. And that's training, consulting, speaking.
Amen.
That integrity allows you to have influence. That's the second I, integrity, influence, which in turn allows you to create the third one, impact. That's what this business is all about. It's about creating impact. You do that from your influence. You do that on a foundation of integrity.
Totally fantastic. Period. Mic drop. So awesome. Mark, tell us how people can get connected and stay connected to you, your empire, your books, your blog, your videos, and the Outbound conference that every single listener is going to attend. Otherwise, they're going to hear from me personally.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, because there's a half a dozen other NSA speakers who are going to be on the schedule for the breakout day, but we just don't have time. Anyway, my website, thesaleshunter.com, thesaleshunter.com. Hey, I got the last name Hunter. Might as well use it, right? And there's a click right there. You can go to Outbound Conference, outboundconference.com.
That's the best way to get into Mark Hunter world.
Yeah.
And they can run out and buy right now high profit selling and high profit prospecting, and then keep your eye out. Bookstore near you coming soon. Mondays are for selling, or whatever the title ends up being.
Yeah. Well, you've gone down that road before, haven't you? With publishing?
Well, the publisher always tells us, we have the final right to change the title anytime we feel like it. So even with my book, I say tentatively titled.
I know.
But if they're smart, they'll keep the title that the author wants and that the author loves.
But again, why do we use publishers? Because we make money not from the book, but because of the book.
Awesome. All right, my friend. Fantastic talking to you as always. And congrats on being episode 1 back in the day. And this will be episode who knows what, but we'll have you back before too long yet again.
So you're saying it's hitting the cutting floor. It'll never make air.
It's going to be awesome. Awesome.
Hey, David Newman, you're awesome. Keep on making it happen. Great industry, great selling.
Well, that wraps up another episode of The Speaking Show. Hey, tell you what, if you like us, rate us and review us on iTunes. Subscribe. Tell a friend. Go grab the notes and downloads and extras at thespeakingshow.com. See you next time.